Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and in this video I'm going to be talking about this book here. Now I've been going through some books recently because I've got a great video coming up with from John Hall and a friend of his, Alex, who gifted me some amazing horror books from the 70s and 80s. They're just absolutely brilliant. I've been wading my way through them. I've been trying to go and get some footage from the John Hall meetup and also incorporate into looking through the books. So that's currently a work in progress. It's taking longer than I thought because time is always the enemy, isn't it? Now, bear in mind, when this book came out in 1974, I probably got it for Christmas off my gran. And you can see her inscription in there, in the corner. So this book has fond memories for me. I mean, look at the state of this. This is well looked at. And the dust cover is long gone, but this one has special memories for me. This is probably my most looked at book ever. And the reason why I looked at it is because literally think of it as this is my internet. There was no internet back in the day, obviously. There was no way of actually finding out about movies apart from books like this. And this book is like a Bible when it comes to Hammer and etc. And also, early horror, Universal. So it was just amazing. I used to read this back to front. Now, what I used to try and do was I used to see if there was some horror films on at the weekend, which was always horror films on the weekend, on the Friday night, Saturday and the double bills. So you would go to this book and you would read about these movies either after them or before you saw them. When I went through this book, it goes through a glossary of the films that it talks about in this book. And what I'd done with a pencil, I'd actually ticked them off if I'd watched them. So what you've got to remember at this time, there was no physical media whatsoever. There was no way of owning any of these movies. What you had to do was you had to see them on a TV. Now I was roundabout at this time, I would have been in my, between 6 to 10. I was very young when I started watching this stuff, and it was brilliant. I was scared by everything I saw because, I was so young, but it's the best way to be when you start off on your horror journey. I think that's something that like really captures you when you get caught at a young age. Bearing in mind that this book stops at the sort of early 70s, 1973, I would say, is the latest entry in here for a movie. Here's the index of film titles that I'm going to be going off. Got some great pictures in here, some iconic pictures, some ones that frightened me to death, if I'm honest. This one here, just at the back here, it really scared me. It was, when you turn the page and sometimes this one's coming, you don't want to look at it. It was like that. Mind you, I was quite young. So first up, these are all in alphabetical order. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Yes, I've got that in the box set up there. Good film, actually. That's the last Universal horror film of Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. They're all in it, and that was the last time they were ever in a movie. I'm going to guess, 1948, something like that. Obviously, I won't remember all the dates of these films. Next is The Abominable Doctor Fives. Yes, I've got that one. Great movie. Vincent Price. Next is The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. That's a brilliant one. I've just bought that on Indicators. The Beast with Five Fingers. This is one that's really, I remember this petrified me. Is The Beast with Five Fingers something to do with a hand, like moving hand? There's quite a few movies when you've got this hand going across the floor, and I'm sure that's one of them. But Beast with Five Fingers did frighten me. Next up is The Birds. Yes, I've got up there in 4K for my good friend Paul, aka the 4K chef. And it looks absolutely spectacular. It really does. The Bride of Frankenstein, yes, of course, classic. I've got it 4K. It's up there. It's mint. Actually, it's up there. Next is The Brides of Dracula. Yeah, the Hammer film. I've just been talking about that recently. That's up there in the Hammer collection. Carry On Screaming. Yeah, Carry On Screaming. I've got that one up there. That's so good. That's the only Carry On film that's like a horror movie. Really good, actually. Actually, John Hall was saying to us in a comment, he'd said that the regeneration of Oddbod in Carry On Screaming is exactly the same as the reanimation of the creature in The Creeping Flesh. The Creeping Flesh came after Carry On Screaming, so did they pinch it from there? Possibly, he said. Next is Count Dracula. Can't imagine that I watched this back in the day, but obviously I did because these are the ones I've ticked off. And it is in this book. I remember looking at it in this book. So yeah, so I saw Count Dracula on the TV in the 70s. Didn't know that. I thought I'd seen it on the TV, but I thought I'd seen it a lot after the fact. Just shows you. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, yes, I've got it on 4K. It's up there. It looks up there. It looks absolutely brilliant. The Creature Walks Among Us. Now that's the sequel to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I haven't got that. I would love to get that one. I think it's quite hard to get. I'm hoping it's going to come out because it's one of the last um, Universal films, Universal horror films. Next is The Creeping Flesh. Yes, I've just watched that recently, and I've got that up there of my good friend John Hall on Blu-ray. The Blu-ray looks sensational, actually. It's a great film as well. I'll be talking about that quite soon. Is that a Tygon movie? Tygon movie? Because if it is, it'll be ranked. I think it is a Tygon movie. I'm going to rank it in my rankings of what Tygon movies I've watched. I think there's about 10 of them. Next, The Curse of Frankenstein. Yeah, I've got that up there. It's I've got the lower Blu-ray. There's a better Blu-ray out there, but I'm going to hold back because I've got a feeling the 4K could be around the corner. Please God. Next is The Curse of the Fly. Yeah, I remember those ones used to be on the telly. Actually, the fly and the picture in here of the fly used to petrify me. Used to really, you know, when you're at that age when certain things just really rattle you. That was one of them. The Day the Earth Stood Still. That's up there. Great film. Klaatu, Veratu, Nikto, something like that. Next is Devil Doll. This is just me picking this up and just saying this is what I would have saw because I've ticked them. Next is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now I don't know. It's also got Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. Yes, I've got that one up there. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I've got that one down there. Got it off my good friend Koro Shira Ishii. It's great film actually. It's quite subversive as well. I was thinking, wow, this is a little bit near the mark. I didn't get that from the first time I watched it. Obviously, as a kid, you weren't like up on them things. Then Dr. Fives Rise Again. Yes, I've got an Arrow double bill with Dr. Fives, the abominable Dr. Fives. Next is Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. Yeah, that's an Amicus release. Got it up there. It's on 4K now. Amazing. Next up is Dracula. There's a lot of pages devoted to Dracula, so I imagine that's the Bela Lugosi one and the Christopher Lee one, which I've got them both. Well, I've got the Bela Lugosi one in 4K, and I've got the Blu-ray of the 1958 one. Absolutely brilliant. Because those two are really, really iconic. The more I watch, the more I think, wow, these are really trend-setting at the time. Next is Dracula AD 1972, classic. Johnny Alucard, anybody? Got that one up there. Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. Yes, got that up there in Blu-ray. We talked about that just recently. Next is Dracula Prince of Darkness. Yep, up there in Blu-ray. And the next is Evil of Frankenstein. Yes, I've got that. Got that up there. I think it's in special edition as well. Is that the one in special edition? But it's, yeah, I've got a good Blu-ray of that one. It's good to see all these ones out in Blu-ray. It's not me. Imagine if I was talking about, remember all these movies, none of them were available now, as if they were just totally forgotten about. That's one of the best things about this, reading this book and having this collection here that has these certain type of movies, and you can say, hey, wow, this is a thing that's still, if I went back to my 1974 self, which is, what is that, 40, 50 years ago? Oh, I don't even, yeah, 50 years ago. My God. If I went back then and says, hey, I'll be on a computer talking about with this book that you've still got, talking about the stuff that you actually own, it would be like amazing, wouldn't it? Next is The Fall of the House of Usher. I've got that. It's on Arrow. It's down there. It's Vincent Price. It's part of a Roger Corman set. I haven't got the set, but I've got the individual titles there. Next is Frankenstein. Obviously, I think that is the Universal one. I got that in 4K. It's absolutely brilliant. It's iconic. It just can't be beaten for a Frankenstein movie. Frankenstein Created Woman. Brilliant. That's my favorite Frankenstein movie. That's up there in Blu-ray. Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Yeah, I've got that on DVD. Sorry, Blu-ray. That was the one. That's the one that I would love them to go back and find all the stuff that they cut out. Apparently, it was too long, so they cut it out and they cut out more major plot lines in it, which makes the film a little bit weird and daft. But if they put all the stuff back in, it would make it like a massive long film. But it would probably be one of the better ones instead of be one of the worst ones. You think with them two getting together, it would have been incredible. And it was all right. It was good. I really enjoyed it. But when you watch it back these days, you think it's not that good. But they cut out massive plot lines in it and a lot of footage. Will it ever surface? I hope so. Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. Yes, I got that. Is that the one I've got? I think that's on DVD only over here, but it is on Blu-ray in US, so I will be getting that one. Will it come out in 4K? From Beyond the Grave. Amazing. No, I think I've got that one. It's over there. Yes, I have. Next is Ghost of Frankenstein. That is when Lon Chaney Jr. became the Frankenstein's monster. Quite a good one. That gets a bad review, but I do really like it. Even though I wouldn't say Lon Chaney Jr. was the best Frankenstein, although he's the only one who played Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. So there you go. Next is The Gorgon. Yes, I've got that. That's up there. Just talking about that recently. That's a Hammer movie. Looks fantastic as well. The Hands of the Ripper, I've got that one up there on Blu-ray. Got quite a lot of stuff in here that I've looked at, and it just shows you that these things were really captivated me. It's not as if I watched all these and thought, well, they're a load of rubbish, I'll not watch them again. It's stuff that I've really thought I've got to get that. Well, not at this point, but in later life, I've thought these are amazing. I need to have them. This is, and when you buy stuff that's like a blind buy, and if it's in the realm of the Hammer stuff, which I haven't seen, but I do trust that I'll enjoy all the Hammer stuff to a certain extent, and all the Amicus and Tygon stuff. So it's not really a blind buy if you're buying for that label or that style of movie. I find anyway. Horror Express classic. It's like the thing on a train. I've got it down there, an arrow, and that's a movie that I really thought was either Hammer, Tygon, Amicus. It's not anything to do with them. Kind of like a one-off Spanish production actually, but it's absolutely brilliant. And because it stars Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, I think it's obviously got to be Hammer or thereabouts, but it wasn't actually. House of Dracula. That's one of the last, in the Universal Monsters one, which I quite enjoy. The House of Frankenstein, the House of Dracula. House of Frankenstein is next, is really they're really watchable. I didn't really think I would like them on rewatch because I knew that the quality was slipping down. They had the monster was Glenn Strange, and he was all right. He was pretty good. He was massive, but to me, it was always going to be Boris Karloff was going to be the best. But yeah, those ones are quite good. Actually, there's a really good character in it. He's like this sort of evil, like professor, and he's brilliant in this movie. Like really sinister as well. I'm sure he sort of changes and he gets this sort of. He starts off as a nice bloke, and I think he drinks something, maybe a bit like Dr. Jekyll. And he turns into this real maniac, I think. It's really good, actually. The House That Dripped Blood, that's another one you need to pick up. That's definitely a portmanteau film. I Monster, yeah, I Monster, Christopher Lee, that's another Dr. Jekyll type thing. That was great, actually. I know that's out on Indicator, so I will get that one. The Incredible Shrinking Man, brilliant. That used to pet the spider when the spider was coming up, and you would imagine yourself and think I'd be great to be like shrunk and you could do like loads of things. And then when you thought, hang on a minute, the spiders are bigger than me, so they'll be after us. I thought frightening. So that was great to think from a kid's point of view to think what you could get up to when you were shrunk. But then we thought about all the dark sides of it. What you were up against. Absolutely brilliant. Good ending in that movie as well. I mean, there's some ones in here that are just absolutely. You see the title and you think, I've got to see it, and you never saw it. Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. Classic. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Wow. So I saw that when I would imagine, going back to my 6-year-old mind, I would have thought I wouldn't have got it. I would have thought, hang on, this has got no sound. I probably got a bit creeped out by it, but I don't think I would have liked it as much as I like it now. I think it's absolutely great. I've got it on 4K. 4K, can you believe it? Brilliant. It looks brilliant as well. Although it hasn't got HDR on, unfortunately. So it looks great, but it'll look a little bit better with the HDR to make the black levels look really insane instead of looking good. But it looks brilliant considering, how old it is. 1919, I think. My God. Over 100 years old. Next is Kiss of Evil, aka Kiss of the Vampire. Got it up there. That's a Hammer movie, which I've yet to rewatch. But I knew I'd seen it. So this has proven that I have seen it. I'm not saying that you're going to disbelieve us when I say, oh, I saw this a while ago, but, just saying. I'm glad I did this actually. Next is The Mummy's Curse. Yeah, I've definitely got that. I think that's Universal one. Next is The Mummy's Ghost. I think that's Universal as well. The Mummy's Hand is Universal, I believe. The Mummy's Shroud is Hammer. The Mummy's Tomb is maybe Hammer or maybe Universal. They're very hard to distinguish. So I've got all of them. I've actually Monsters Go Home. I've just got that actually on Blu-ray. That's the Monsters. That's their movie. Looks great as well. If you want to pick this up, it's still available in eBay. It's one for about 15 quid. Urge anyone to pick it up. I mean, all these things you will know now, but it's such a good, and the pictures in here are brilliant. And actually, a book with pictures is sometimes a lot better than just flicking through the internet with all them things written across that you can't download it or anything or look at it without signing up a Reddit page. Next is The Plague of the Zombies. Yes, that is Hammer one up there. Got to be a 4K of that one. That's one of my favourite ones to get the 4K. Looks sensational anyway. Next is The Reptile. Yes, that is up there. That is Hammer. Next is The Return of Count Yorga. But The Return of Count Yoga is okay, but Count Yoga Vampire, the first movie, is on a double bill with Arrow. I've got the previous release, there's like a super duper one came out after that, which I didn't pick up because I think it's the same one with just a few added gubbins in it. It's amazing, but the Count Yoga Vampire is so good. It's so funny as well. It's like so tongue in cheek. It was one of the ones when I put it on, I thought, wow, when I watched it, I thought, this is so different to what I'm seeing. It's highly, highly recommended from me. The first one, anyway. Next is the Satanic Rites of Dracula. Yes, that's up there on Blu-ray. And also Scars of Dracula, which is going to be the first ever 4K of Hammer coming out. Can you believe it? Can't wait for that one. I do want to watch that again once before I do see the 4K because I have written that one off. But the more I've just read about it recently, actually, I'm going to read what it says in here. The synopsis on here, the go to behind the scenes and everything. It's really good, really interesting as well. Tells you a little bit about everything to do with it. I'm going to look at the Scars of Dracula and see what it says in here. And I'm gonna watch it again before I get the 4K, which I don't usually like to do. But I do think I'm going to like it more because now I know it's an origin story of a sort. Son of Frankenstein, yes, got up there in the box set of the Frankenstein ones, Blu-ray. I think they're coming out in 4K. I keep hearing that, but it's got to come out in 4K. All of those Universal monsters, because the 4Ks of them look absolutely brilliant. Mainly because of the dark levels. They've got HDR on them, and the dark levels on these black and white things are just unbelievable. Taste the Blood of Dracula, my favourite Dracula film, got it there in Blu-ray. Absolutely incredible. I would have loved that back in the day, although it's a bit wild. For me, as a 6-year-old or thereabouts. Next is Them. Yes, I've got that down there, I think. That's up there. It's on HMV premium range. Next is The Tomb of Ligeia. That is over there. That is in that Roger Corman set or thereabouts. And I remember I haven't watched that sin for a long time. Even when I bought it, I haven't watched it. I was going to get Deborah to watch all these Roger Corman ones with Vincent Price in. I haven't done that yet, but I will try and get her to do that. But that's why I put it off. But I know that I'm sure that one freaked me out for whatever reason. Now, the movie that I was talking about here, that's really Trog. Does anyone remember that? I'm sure it's Neanderthal man that was captured, and that's the only thing I can remember about it. And in this book, it's got some pictures in here. Yeah, anyone remember that? And I'm sure that's definitely come. I remember that just that movie and that picture. Used to, I mean, I love anything to do with dinosaurs, but I was thinking, oh, this is a little bit. I'm sure. Is it just me that did to bring him back to like a normal like countryside village, and he's in this village, I think. And I remember he's got like a ripped arm as well. Yeah, Trog. Wow. Vampire Circus. Yeah, that's a still from Vampire Circus. These used to really freak me out when I used to look at these things because your mind would start to play tricks and say, "What on earth can this be?" You know, when you're thinking about it, because when you're young and impressionable, you will think more of these pictures than probably would do like at this age when you were looking at them, even though you would marvel at the effects of some of them. Werewolf of London. Yeah, I've got the one down there on DVD. It's not had a Blu-ray upgrade as far as I know. Quite a good movie, actually. The Wicker Man. God, I must imagine I know it really freaked me out, but seeing the Wicker Man when I was in me sort of like before I was 10, nuts. Witchfinder General. Oh, that's another one as well. That must have really, I don't know. I don't know what I would have thought of it at this time. Obviously, it was on that horror double bill. Whatever movie came on, even if I was really petrified and I didn't want to see it again afterwards, I would always check it out once. Probably my own detriment. I'd probably have nightmares for a week about it. But, there's plenty of them done that at that point. But it just shows you what I did used to watch. The Wolfman, yeah, classic, got up there, and 4K. And the last one in here for films is The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Now, I remember the ending of that really freaked me out because you thought, yeah, well, if you know it, you know it. Wow. But I mean, look at these four pictures. You could probably frame some of these. That's such a good effect, that. And can you imagine me going through this book and just looking at things like this? But yeah, I honestly do recommend anybody getting this book if you're a fan of this. If you want to just go for some retro horror, you can't go past it, if I'm honest. Now, like I say, I will be going through the horror books that I got off Alex And obviously I've recorded them videos with John Hall, so I do inserts of me and John Hall talking about the various things. Then I'll probably go to the book and show you the bits in this book or the other books that I'm going to show you and talk a little bit about them, because I want to make them more like split them up and have them probably as if quite a few parts. But I think I'm going to be quite amazed by what I find in these books. And this, like I say, this was my Bible, and I'm so glad that I actually ticked the boxes to see what movies I'd actually watched. So thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for some more horror related book stuff. You take care, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.